Okay, thank you very much. It's a very big honor to be here. First off, I want to thank everybody on the mission title side. I really do not take this opportunity for granted. It's really big for me personally, and the subject matter as well is something that really uh, maybe takes me or gets at me a lot because or don't worry, maybe as I speak we would get to know most of those things. Thank you everybody for the virtual claps. Thank you Wisdom. Thank you Esther. So without taking any more time, let's get straight into it. Mr. Ikene, sorry. take- So Mr. Ikene, please if you can allow me to share my screen. Okay, so the the subject for the meeting today is okay. I think I have access to share the screen now, so I will share this. Okay, all right. So we have on screen what I titled the new type of missions. Um, just a little bit of background about who I am, and like I said, what is personal to me in particular. First off, my name is David, and these three sides are a reflection of everything that my life has been about in the past few years. First of all, technology. You can see a few of so smart church, like Ekene mentioned, is a product, is a tech tool that we built at the office to support what pastors are doing in churches. So for the work, the circular work we do. So in organizations, we have HR tools. We have communication tools. We have CRM tools. But you see, the church, despite playing a very important role in our society and in our economy in Africa, we had no tool to make sure that what pastors were doing was easier, faster, and better. So we built Smart Church, along with many other companies that I have been a part of. Amazing companies, all of them, amazing people I met there. But number one side of me is technology. Number two is entrepreneurship. I'm a very pure businessman at heart. I see a Naira and Kobo in everything and in almost every scenario. But very interestingly, I am also a pastor in a local church which I attend. I am not the usual pastor, and I think it's because of my background in some of these other things. So, but generally, I brought this up to let us understand that I'll be saying some things, and those things have been formed from the perspective of these three major pillars. Now, the first you think AI is. So I would stop sharing my screen so that I can share another screen. I'm going to share a link in the chat box so that we can answer that question. Right. So I am sharing the link now. I would have loved for us to speak, but generally the experience I have with feedback is that it's not really great. So there'll be like 25 of us in the call, but we'll have only two people. But of course, this is a safe space. You can just air your thoughts, no name attached, no stress, and then we can pick it up from there. But give me a minute to share my screen. So let me share that screen. So there's a question before that. Let me share that screen. Present. All right. Okay. Okay. So let me go back to the first question. So the first question is what you are hoping to get out of this meeting, right? So what's one thing you are looking forward to get from this meeting? You can just click the link in the chat box. It will take you there and you will be able to answer. So I cannot see anybody's answer. I can see that 5 people have joined, but nobody has answered. So we are still waiting for the first answer. I'll probably give it a minute or so. So we can all see everybody's answer anonymously. So of course, your name would not show that you were the one who answered, but of course, we can see what you have in mind. No prejudice attached. Uh, so I can see that 7 people are looking at the response form, but they are not answering. Just so I am sure that we are not struggling with it. Does anybody have any challenge? Okay, tech for evangelism. We have our first response. Anybody else? Insights for missions. Okay, 2 out of 7. 7 out of what? 20? Okay, so we have two. I'll probably stay till. Okay, let's give it another 30 seconds for anybody else who wants to. Are we struggling with it? Link. Let me put it back. Okay, so putting it back. There you go. If you lost the link, there you are. You can just pick it up there. Okay, so I'll move to the next question. Okay, more people are joining. Okay, 3. Missions, impact, entrepreneurship, and missions. Okay, that was supposed to be together. Okay, so 12 of us are looking at the form. Only 3 have answered. 4 of us, 5. Good, 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 good. So now we see a clearer picture. Okay, now we have gotten a hang of it. Let's move on to the next thing. So describe AI in your understanding in one word, right? So if you could describe AI, what is one word you would use to describe it? Okay, 13 of us are looking at the response, and I assume we are thinking. So let's think for a minute. By 8:03, we move to the next question. Convenience. Good. Information. Efficiency. Gift. Okay. Okay. The future. Okay. I like this kind of missionaries. So for me, the reason I would probably explain why this is important at the end, and you would be shocked. A great tool. Okay. Knowledge, convenience, information, unlimited resources. Okay. So it's 8:03. We'll wait 10 more seconds and then we flip to the next question. Using automation to solve. Okay, using automation solving. I don't think that's complete, but anyways, I get the gist. I get the gist, man. Speed. Okay, I like that. Now, last question. Same question, but this time in a sentence. Okay, by 8:04, we'll close the poll and then we continue the session from there. Ding, 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 ding. Everybody is thinking deep because it's a tool that can be harnessed for whatever purpose, good or bad. True, true. I wish that person's name was there so I can buy him something. Do the crude work and get AI to optimize it. Yes. Provides what? Provides tools to make us work smarter, faster, and more efficiently. Very good. Okay. So while we're still answering, I will tell us why this is important to me. Many times when I'm speaking to people in the religious sect about AI or about technology in general, right? The emphasis or the first approach is that technology is satanic or demonic or devilish. Yeah, so let's stick with devilish. But you see, The thought that artificial intelligence or any form of technology for that matter is devilish is a devilish thought in itself. So thinking that the gift that we have received, right, is a devilish tool, right, is a devilish thought in itself. Now let's go back to my screen. Now we know what we have as an idea of what missions are. Now, how does that play out eventually? So let's start with early life. Now, I believe very strongly, right, that every advancement in technology has come from a place of advancement in knowledge of God, God's word, or spiritual principles. So initially, there are records that when man eventually started life on earth, right, we were not this advanced technologically. So it is my belief that the more we have come to understand God, is the more we have been able to improve in technology. And I can prove it. Psalm 119, verse 130. The entrance of your word brings light and understanding. Now, that is not just to prove this point. Think of light as an object, like what's the name of the inventor? Uh, I can't remember his name, right? But
Thomas.
think of light. Exactly. Think of light, your electric bulb, your flashlight, all those things are light. Now, just the same way physical light allows you to see objects clearly and allows you to perceive truth, right? Without light, you cannot see. Without light, you cannot perceive the truth. So, if you put together the role light plays in the physical, you understand that it is only possible for light to have come because people understood light. So people understood light as something that brings revelation. So an entity for revelation in the physical had to come. That is why when you're explaining something to somebody and they eventually get it, the expression is like, oh, I see, I see, I see. And of course, light is not the only light is not the only example we can use. For example, we have so many phrases in the Bible that refer to something like wings of the spirit. So it proves that everything that will fly on a wing. Isaiah 40:31. The people who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They will fly with wings as eagles. If you take notes, right? Hi
David, are
again.
you back?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm back.
We
Sorry.
lost you, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes. Sorry, I
All
lost
right.
my network. Okay, so somebody just reminded me of something they had last, so I'll pick up from there.
So you were talking about the wind of the spirit. That's when you were explaining about light, and then
Oh,
whatever thing that is going to fly is going to fly on the same wind.
good, 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 good. Thank you very much. Okay, so let me share that screen again. I had actually gone a lot further than that, but let me see if I can pick that up again.
Yeah, we can see your screen now, sir.
Cool, cool, cool. Thank you. All right. So we're talking about wings. Yes. So in the same way, anything that will fly in the physical, because there is a law of flight in the spiritual, depending on wings, everything that will fly must fly on wings. So that is why birds have wings, because they require that wing to fly. That is why even our human inventions of flight, none of which have existed without a wing. So everybody and everything that would fly on a wing. Like I said, the examples are numerous. I can go over and over and over again. But before I move away from this point, one more example. the idea of omnipresence. Our God has some characteristics, right, that we have found to be absolute. If not, he would not be God. Some of which are omnipotence, omniscience, and one of which is omnipresence. The idea or the possibility of our God to be everywhere at the same time. Even as human beings, because of our understanding of God in that level, we have been able to replicate omnipresence in our own way, right, to some level or to some effect, because somebody has understood the spiritual message behind omnipresence. For example, I am here in Uyo. Mr. Ekene is in Abuja, but somehow I am in Uyo and Abuja at the same time. He is in Abuja and in Uyo at the same time. If you are joining this call from the United States, what it means is you have, by virtue of being a part of this call, allowed me to be in the United States as well. So in that sense, every time somebody understands a law, a word, or a spiritual message, it can be translated into physical, tangible innovation. Because God, I mean, it is very simple. We pray a kind of prayer, right? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom will come. Your will be done on earth the way it is done in heaven. So everything on earth is feedback from heaven. Now, if this is true, right, the next question to ask is, how comes Christians are not the wealthiest, most innovative, most inspirational people in the world? Well, the truth is this: once a truth enters the earth, regardless of who was able to receive that truth, whether it is by understanding, by prophecy, by revelation, or by discovery, it becomes open source. Open source is a technical jargon, right? It's something we use in tech. But what it means is it becomes a part of the knowledge pool of everybody. So because somebody has received an understanding of what wings mean in the spirit, all of us in the world are able to take from that understanding that that person has and build something. The understanding he has received fuels everybody's innovation. So because Ekene has received something, I can start to think in a certain way to bring that revelation to life. So the one who receives the revelation is not necessarily always the one who implements it. There is a three-way pull for the way the thing happens: receiving, interpreting, and implementing. So somebody receives, and somebody interprets, and somebody does, right? So somebody receives, somebody studies, somebody does. Now, in very rare cases, it is one person or two. In very rare cases, two of them is the same person. But most of the time, he who receives is not he who interprets, and he who interprets is not he who does. Again, there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of proofs of this in the Bible. A very classic example is Joseph. Pharaoh had a dream. The dream meant something for the world. It meant an economic principle for the world. Joseph saw beyond the dream and gave an economic advice. But Egypt as a nation had to be the ones to implement what Pharaoh received spiritually. I don't know if that is making sense, right? So when someone sees spiritually, other people can tap into what you have seen. And because they can tap into what you have seen, they can do something from what you have seen. So they can have physical manifestations. And by physical manifestations now, I am not referring to deliverance or healing the sick. While those can be considered as well, right? In manifestations also happen in the place of innovations. So somebody has received something, it translates to me as an innovation. So it now means I can do something with what he has received. So all this process now makes it make sense when God says, the earth is mine and everything in the earth is mine. All right. Now, don't forget, don't get lost or confused with what we are talking about or how we have delved into other things. We are talking about artificial intelligence. So, in all that we have, how does artificial intelligence add, or how does it follow this rule? How can it be proven by these steps? And what does that mean for each and every one of us? Let's go into a little bit technical stuff. If you want to take notes, this is the time, right? So AI refers to systems that can find and use patterns in data. So they are built by human beings, trained on examples, and used to make predictions, generate text, images, and whatever, classify or recommend. So basically, this is what I'm trying to say. Artificial intelligence is a computer like the one you have in your hand, like your phone, like your computer. It is a computer tool somewhere. And what it is able to do is it can take data. Data refers to information gathered by people. So I mean, I really am struggling to stay away from the technical stuff. So an example is this: you wake up by 9 and you pick up your phone and you have your bath and you brush your teeth. As you do all those things, you leave trails of data. That trail of data can be put together, studied, and then when you wake up tomorrow morning, because we have studied you over 20 years and you have the same pattern of life, we can deduce that these are the things you will do tomorrow. If we look at all your drawings of a car, if we give you a piece of paper and say, draw a car, we can almost tell what you will draw because over the past 6 years, we have seen what you have drawn as a car. So basically, AI is not different from any computer outside of this fact that it can take the data and from that data, it can apply. So the application is what we are looking at. Now, there are different types of AI. There are types of AI based on purpose, but there are types of AI based on other things. But for today, right, let's just look at purpose. There's narrow and there's general. General refers to tools like ChatGPT and all those other ones that you can use to do a number of things, right? While narrow AI or special AI is AI built for specific purposes. For example, if you watch movies on Netflix, the system that decides what movie is best for you, because over time it has seen the type of movies you watch and it can decide based on your character the type of movie you should watch next. That type of AI is special AI. The face recognition system on your mobile device, right? It has seen your face over time. So when you pick up your phone to unlock, it looks at your face. And because it has seen the features on your face over time, it can decide that that is you. Now, let us look at some truths about AI. First off, AI does not have a soul or a conscience or any form of awareness. So sometimes asking it to do some things will not work for you, or expecting it to do some things cannot work for you, or joining people to mock it because it cannot do certain things is not even reasonable. I watched a video somewhere where someone made fun of it because they asked it to pray and it could not pray. While all of that is good to watch and look at, you must understand that that is not what it is meant for. AI cannot pray for you. As fantastic as that may be, it is like asking your pot to pray for you or asking your table to pray for you. It cannot pray for you because that's not what it is for. All right. it is a human invention, so it can only function based on the set rules that human beings have given it. It is just like the way God created man and breathed into man. Whatever it is that it can do is what we have permitted it to do. All right. So, yeah, it is not spiritual and there is a limit to what it can do for you. Secondly, it is biased and it is limited because of the type of data that it receives or it feeds on, right? There is bias on it. So, how do I explain this bias? Uh, if I asked you what is, I mean, a simple explanation is the bias of the four gospels, right? The bias of perspective, because you cannot necessarily say what part of what data it was trained with. You cannot really take everything it gives you at heart because there is that bias, right? So it may have learned how to pray from a deeper life person. This is just a random example. Don't take it to heart, right? So it might have learned how to pray from somebody at deeper life, and you are asking it to pray the MFM standard. Because of that training it has had, there is bias in how it will pray, but it cannot pray. We've already established that. That was just the first example that came to my mind. And lastly, AI is an amplifier. Now, this is where I want us to focus. This is where it all gets interesting and it all gets useful for us. AI is an amplifier of who you are and what you do. So the general logic is this: if you are smart, AI will improve on your wisdom. If you are not so smart, AI as a tool will show you the folly in your way of life. It is like a sword. If you can fight, a sword will show how good you can fight. It will make fighting easier for you. But if you cannot fight, a sword will not do you much good. All right. So it is not conscious, it is not biased, and it is not conscious, it is biased, and it is a powerful amplifier. Now, you will notice three words highlighted at the top: smarter, deeper, faster. That those three words are the reason why any conversation today on AI is relevant. AI needs to be discussed amongst everybody and amongst all walks of life because of these three major features. People feel threatened by AI, or people feel the need to learn what AI is because of these three features. The first is smarter. What does it mean to be smart? Simple, having a wealth of knowledge. Anything that you know, I can almost guarantee, because that knowledge comes from somewhere, AI knows it as well. And even knows more that you also do not even know, because its ability to capture information is faster than yours. I mean, how long will it take you to read a book? How long will it take AI to read a book? When you look at those things side by side, you know that it by default knows more than you. The next is deeper. Inside that thing that you know and AI knows more of it than you do, right? So take a random topic like acid-base titration, for example. As much as you may know in chemistry for acid-base titration, AI knows much more than you can ever know, because it has access to much more data than you can have, and it can process that data much faster than you can, which brings us to the last point. Anything you can do, AI can do faster than you. I mean, we can do a live a competition right now to prove the point. I can ask you to write a letter or to type a letter. I can ask ChatGPT to type that same letter, and I am so sure it will do it in a fraction of the time it takes you to do yours. Now, what does that mean for you? The discussion of AI means different things for different people. You will notice that the you there is bold, because the you there is referring to missionaries. right? What does that mean for the average missionary? How does this play a role in everything a missionary will do or should do? I want to read us a scripture, Ecclesiastes chapter 2 and verse 12. Then I turned to wisdom, then I turned myself to consider wisdom and madness and foolishness. That aside, this is the part I want you to focus on. For what can the man who comes after the king do? Only that which the king has done. What is this saying? We are having this discussion because a new type of missionary has, or a new type of evangelist has to be born out of you, right? But that new evangelist or that new missionary, what is that missionary going to do? Whatever it is that missionary is going to do is going to be called missions eventually. So many people feel threatened by advancement in technology because they refuse to understand that advancements in technology are not bad because they do not take away that which you are. If you are a pastor, you will remain a pastor. If you are a doctor, you will remain a doctor. If you are a teacher, you would remain a teacher. But what it means is when you teach, when you treat, or when you evangelize, you now have tools, right, within your arsenal and within your toolbox that makes it easier for you to do that which you have been called or sent to do more efficiently. So it doesn't take away the missions, it enables it. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody. Now, one of my best places to this point, but this one I would rather read it out than call it from memory. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 from verse 9 to 11. It says, the thing that was there, right? This is okay. This is me trying as hard as possible not to read it in King James, but basically, that which has been is that which will be, and that which was done is that which will be done. There is nothing new under the sun. So, no matter what comes, missionaries will continue to exist. Everything, every profession will continue as it has continued. Is there something that you can say, look at this one? This one is new. It has been there before, and it was there before us. So don't think of former things or don't remember things that were there. Think of the things that will come after. So, what this verse is essentially saying is when you think of yourself as a missionary, or when you are training somebody to become a missionary, you must understand that you are not training the person to become your type of missionary. Why? Because the field, the playing field of the way things used to be has changed. All right. Before, if we said we're having a meeting, of course, you will drop venue for the meeting. But now, when you say we are having a meeting, the question that usually follows is it online or is it on site? Now, that question was born only because there is something new which has existed, or there is something new which has come. Does that make sense? Now, because there is a new thing, our approach to doing the thing we normally used to do has to change. Our approach to doing the thing which we are called to do has to change. I mean, you can literally trace every trade, every profession, every whatever you call it, right, as far back in time as possible. I studied estate management in school, and that was around the period I gave my life to Christ when I was doing my first degree. And I noticed that there is estate management in the Bible. Genesis 2, verse 15, right? When God took Adam and put him in the garden and gave him the task of managing the garden. The verses that follow after solidly describe estate management as a profession. And I mean, you can tie many other professions to at least I can prove as far back as the Bible. You can see medicine, you can see quantity surveying. In the book of Luke, it says, is there any of you who intends to build? Will you not first sit and put together the cost? The putting together the cost is what we refer to today as quantity survey. That is a full-time profession. So quantity survey as a profession will change, but it will remain because nobody will build without considering the cost. So, what are some changes that we need to make as missionaries? Bearing in mind that what we are called to do is the same, but when and with who and where we are doing it has changed. The first thing is we must understand that everything will shift, but the message will remain the same. When we're doing the review, when I joined today, I noticed that the speaker yesterday mentioned something like this, and it is the truth. So we now need to be grounded in the word because many things will change and many things will shift, but the word has to remain the same. In fact, I believe that one of the major tasks of a missionary is re-evangelism, if that makes any sense. So we just lost our brother Charlie Kirk in the United States. And in my opinion, what he used to do was re-evangelism. So these people have heard, but what they have heard, they have allowed something else, right, to feed them false knowledge. You know, we say in our church, very, very interestingly, false teachers are worse, much worse than false prophets, right? And we can see the consequences of that. So, because people are taught falsely, we must take it upon ourselves, even in times where things are changing almost every day. We must take it ourselves to make sure the word or the message remains a constant in our lives and in our hearts. Does that make sense? Okay, just so that we can hear me, you can leave something in the chat box so I know that I'm not here alone. If you can say something.
Yes, sir. We're following you, sir.
Yes, good. Now, the next thing is everybody must have digital literacy. So once upon a time, what we referred to as literacy was reading and writing. But today, reading, writing, and digital literacy must form the skill set of everybody, which means after being able to read and to write, you must take a position in the digital space, being able to do something with technology. Everybody, regardless of what walk of life you participate in, including missionaries, must take it upon themselves to learn a digital skill. The next thing that we must be able to do is to collaborate. In the book of Ephesians, right, where it calls the fivefold, it says the reason why the fivefold is there is for ministry. Now, one would think that what the fivefold is doing is ministry. No, but the truth is, what they are doing is they are training the ministers. So real ministry happens in the marketplace. What Mr. Ekene just called blacksmiths, right? If you were here at the beginning of the call, he called some of us blacksmiths. Now, the reason why a blacksmith in this context should exist is to make life easy for you. One, in the place of giving for missions, but two, also in the place of collaboration and training and upskilling. So every time as a missionary, you must be able to find a system where you can work together with people in actual walks of life, especially in technology. Technology is the determinant of growth in every sector. In case you don't know, technology in itself is not a sector. Technology in itself is an enabler of sectors. So we have fintech. Fintech simply means the finance sector plus the technology you have added to it to bring forth what we call fintech. EdTech simply means the education sector plus the technology we add to it to make EdTech. If you were here when I started, I mentioned smart church. In our office, we call smart church faith tech. So it is the faith that we have plus the technology that we build, right, to give the faith tech. So every industry grows as fast as it can incorporate technology into what it does. To be honest, we have not seen church growth like we see today because churches have decided to live stream, or churches have decided to post their sermons on social media, on TikTok. Those 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minutes clips we see, they are the reason why we have thousands of churches today and all of them are full. Lastly, you need to be able to use the tools that exist while preserving your source and preserving your assignment. So there is the thing that you are called to do. You must learn to stay within the context of that thing while leveraging the tools and the technologies available at your disposal. Now, I took some trouble to add some people who I believe have done this very well so that we see that what I'm talking about is not audio. First off, Mission Titus is a great example. What we are doing here today is a webinar. Webinar is not a Christian thing per se, but in the same vein, we have taken the webinar and we are using it to empower missionaries. So if you are looking for an example, Mission Titus is your number one example. How many of you neighbors? You can see it on the screen, but basically I see them all the time. Just as a regular company will put in effort to market, will put in effort to brand, mission enablers have done that consistently. I'll explain where I'm going with this. Of course, this is not AI, but this is technology nonetheless, right? Guy, how many of us know this guy?
This is a friendly, in fact, I'm not even friendly with you people. Who are you? See, check your discipline and
This
content.
brother is called Mr. Eric. As far as I'm concerned, Eric Bugwa is an evangelist. He's a missionary because every time you stumble on him saying something, it has Christian roots, even though he's creating content. So what he has done is he has taken the message, turned it into content, the type of content that people will watch, and he has used it to win souls. Now, why have I gone through the trouble of showing this thing? Is because the future of missions is culture shaping. If you think back to the first time you probably had the word culture, is probably in your primary 2 social studies textbook, right? And the accuracy of the definition of the word culture is top notch. For all of us who are here, according to social studies primary 2, culture refers to the way of life of a certain group of people. However, the one place they got it wrong is that they limited that definition to the culture of people based on their tribe or based on their ethnic groups. So the only type of culture we were taught about was the Yoruba culture, the Hausa culture, the Ibibio culture. Meanwhile, culture is the way of life of any group of people who share something in common. So the future of missions is culture shaping. Now, there is culture in a church. I belong to a church. We have a culture in a church. There is culture in an office. There is culture in our homes. For example, in some homes, you don't open a door without knocking. No matter what door it is, the kitchen door, the outside door, whatever the door, wherever you are, before you open a door, you will knock. That is culture. So a more realistic view of culture is any action that forms how human beings in a specific group work, live, play, love, or die. Anything that will affect how a human being does any of these things is affecting their culture. As missionaries, we have to use, we have to blend, right, into the culture of the present world, not blending for it, but blending with it. So people do not recognize, um, people are starting to recognize more value in content. Good. So, how can we as missionaries put value in content and share it? People are starting to recognize value in AI. What is it about this AI? What is there about this AI that we need to know, that we need to learn, that we need to teach, right? Very, very, very early, right? When I was much younger, I remember that part of the things that, part of the benefits that we had as young people in primary school, or some of those times, is we used to be taught by missionaries the things that were not present in our communities, right? Missionaries came and missionaries taught, like drawing, writing, typing. Those things were taught by missionaries. So now, as we are going to win souls in a new locality, these are the things that is bothering the mind of the person that we are going to meet. When we get there, what can we teach them? So this even goes beyond AI and somewhat beyond technology. What are we doing as missionaries that will shape the culture? The moment we hit this key is when we have said that we are really doing missions. So, in a nutshell, and to conclude, AI is not a replacement but a tool to reach people where they live. Part of the culture of the human being of today is that he is online. There is almost nobody in this world that exists without two things. One, a smart device. So almost everybody has a phone that can either touch the screen, connect to the net, to a network, right? And so many things. I'm rounding up. And two, data. So everybody has a device and everybody has data. But those are the places that we need to go now. So while we have covered a good amount of the earth, and there is still some part of it to be covered, we must start planning for the world that is being shaped online, for the people that are coming online, right? There are some places that we have ticked reached. For example, the city I live in, on my street alone, there are 6 churches. So if a missionary comes here, he can as well just tick reached. However, people will be born into these streets. They may not get the full idea of who Jesus is from all those 6 churches. But you, as a missionary who knows what that idea is, you need to find a way to find that person where he is. That person is on Facebook, on Instagram, using some AI tool somewhere, doing something, and then preach the gospel to them where they are. That, my people, is what we call culture shaping. And AI is just a tool for culture shaping, a tool. A tool. So it informs the content we make, it informs the work we do, it informs the reports we write, it informs the things we teach, and it informs the things that we do. Thank you very much. Please, does anybody have any questions?
Wow, incredible, 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 incredible. Let's give, before we take questions, let's give a virtual clap so that we don't miss it. A virtual a virtual clap. What an amazing session. And some of the reflections, man, I've just been taking notes and I'm like, wow, 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 wow. Thank you, David, for that very stimulating. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you indeed. Shipping, wow. Okay, let's have some questions, some reflections. David said things about how AI is not supposed to replace you as a missionary, it's supposed to enable you. Do you have maybe some more specific questions some more practical questions that you're tussling with, and you're hoping that he can respond to you in this. Let's have that. Or perhaps you have a comment. I see my sister Esther. It's not been too long. Victor, just before you come up, my sister Esther is here. It's not been too long. She did a presentation in a conference. The intersection between missions and tech, and it was a fantastic presentation. She spoke to issues that they've even highlighted here. So you may want to also share. See some of our friends who are doing great work around campus ministry. I see some of our brethren. So you guys may want to ask, but Victor's hand is up. So please, Victor, it could be a question, it could be a reflection. Please, this is your time.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. David Ajibade.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you
the full session. Yes, I'm very interested and passionate about how much of technology and AI we can use to further the gospel. My name is Victor. I work with Calvary Ministries Capro in Niger State, in Bokofield. I work in a rural church planting setting. And my question goes straight to the point. I work in an educational setting, reaching out to them through education, then also administering a church, being in charge of a church in a nearby village. So I'm still trying. I've attended conferences, I've heard talks like this. I'm still trying to bring a link. Is there a direct link to between AI and actual church planting, or technology and actual church planting? I'm still trying to figure it out, because I know that what I'm doing is basically still the normal method that's still going on. So that's why I was ruminating on the words you use, change. So apart from maybe people that are in the cities, people that are online watching things, which I also do. So is there a direct link, or is there a way I can, just practical ways I can use AI or whatever to enable? I use it in some ways, but are there things that I need to do to just make ministry better? Thank you very much. In church planting, local setting. Thank you.
Okay. The local setting.
I think just before David you answer, I think there's another hand. So let me David, just a moment, just before you answer, please. I think there's another hand. So let's take all the questions together, so that we can be more effective. Okay. So Deme's hand up. Deme, please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Hello, am I on? Okay, good evening.
Yes, very audible, very audible.
But so you talked about how AI can amplify someone who is wise, can amplify the wisdom of someone and also amplify the folly of someone. So I am working in the university environment, and part of the challenges I've been having is the fact that most of the students do not read, because they are believing that by the time they get to the examination, or they are going to use AI to answer their questions. And the system have been there before I got in, and one of the things I've been struggling with is the fact that it's looking like it's a tradition. So these students are not told whether what they are doing is detriment to their brain, saying that they are not able to express themselves in the examination or without depending on AI. And so AI becomes, for me, in that aspect, AI becomes like a problem. So I wanted you to throw more light on what you meant by AI amplifies the wisdom of an individual, or also amplifies the folly of an individual. Thank you.
Okay. I see something that looks like a hand from Wisdom Micah in the comment section. I don't know if that is a hand or that is an applause.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Wisdom.
Okay, thank you so much for the session. So my question is this. Currently, I got information, or I read on the news, that Albania, the country Albania, the prime minister was made by, it was given to an AI. Like I'm trying to figure my head around it. So like with the advancement and the massive investment in AI going on currently, like this idea, or will I say this quote of transhumanism, is actually looking very, very real. So like somewhere in this country now that AI are now put in place of authority in strategic positions in a country, how do you think like this will actually, because now you said AI doesn't have a soul, and then it's actually a tool that is working on the information being fed by someone. So I think I'm asking now, how will mission now in this kind of country now be more effective, since this time around decision making is now being done from an entity that doesn't have a soul, and is done by, like, is being fed information by the people around it, and being biased, it's being biased.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Wisdom's question. And Wisdom's question kind of
I think
has
there's one
some
more question.
on the chat. Yes, Sunday.
I think there's one
Okechi
more
Sunday.
question. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
yes. So we'll combine Wisdom's question and Sunday's question. So Sunday's question is: at what point can we say there is AI overuse? Um, our president, right, being AI, in my perspective, is overuse. All right. So, but at what point can we say that there is AI overuse? So I want to start with saying, first off, the line that we have crossed with, first of all, making AI exist, we are not turning back to it. Like I said, there is a spiritual context to it, and it is an innovation whose time has come. So there is no, imagine if Moses had a camera, for example, right? The people of Israel would have been uncomfortable because at that time was not the time of a camera. So he could not have a camera because that was not the time of a camera. And it would not even have existed there. They probably would have burnt it or thrown it in the ocean because they may have thought something. But we can exist with a camera today because one, our spirits are ready for it. Two, our minds are ready for it. And three, somebody has put it forward. So at what point do we say, no, this is enough? That brings us to the place of influence. Now, we must understand that everybody is driven by spirit, right? So everything you do as a person is empowered by spirit. So the spirit of you as a person and the spirits that are against you as a person. What many people don't understand is that our lives on earth are a battle. In fact, it is so much a battle that it is either life or death. You will choose one. So every time we live, we are battling over influence. So influence for the Spirit of God or influence against the Spirit of God. Now, all these things are tools. The same gun you can use to get food to eat, maybe killing a goat or something, is the same you can use to commit murder. The problem is not the gun. The problem is the individual. So when we see something that looks like overuse, my perspective or my theory is the spirit powering that person's decisions has pushed the person to the extreme, which is why, as individuals, as a pastor in my church, one of the things I encourage young people, especially, well, everybody, but especially young people, is to, as much as possible, be successful, because success is a tool of influence. So if you have money, there are some things that you can guarantee for yourself as an individual, for your community, and by your community I mean where you work, for your children, for your church. There are some things you can guarantee for your community, and there are some things you can guarantee for the body of Christ. So the problem of AI overuse is a problem of um, should I say possession or something? The spirits driving people to make those decisions. I mean, we live on the earth. The system for passing law on the earth is by passing it through an assembly. If the people in the assembly have a non-Christian agenda, then what they will pass is a non-Christian, what we would get is a non-Christian result. So that is the answer to that. Now, the second question was, I don't remember. Okay, so let me rush to the first question, AI and church planting. So you see, everything that we do, right, has a process to it. While I will not be able to tell you, you can use AI to do this and do this and do this to help your church planting. If you study the process, okay, I remember the second question now, I'll answer it last. If you study the process to which you plant a church, I am very sure you will see the place of AI in it. Think of the process to creating a post, for example. First, there is a brainwave. The brainwave is documented. I'm talking of a social media post now. Then we must work out a script. Then after the script, we must find a space for a recording. After the space, we must make sure that we have lightning. After the lightning, we must make sure we have sound. After the sound, then we take the video. After we have taken the video, we need to edit the video. After editing the video, we need to post the video. Already, when you look at things from the perspective of process, you can immediately see that you can save a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money, right? By breaking down the things or by summing bulk of the processes into something that AI can do. For example, I am assuming now, because I've not directly been in a church planting exercise, but I'm assuming before you plant a church somewhere, you get the data of the locality. But now nobody needs to travel there. You can just search on your phone which type of people exist in this area. My mother is from a tribe in southern Kaduna. I mean, you guys are missionaries. You probably might have heard of it. So it's the tribe is further Kagoma in Kaduna. The place they reside in is Kagoma. You can almost, there's no map. I've never seen a map, not even the map of Kaduna with that place on it. But I have searched for that place on AI and I have gotten details back. So what if you break whatever activity down into process, break the activity down into a process, and then I am very sure you would find where AI can come in the process. Now, the third question, the question of education and artificial intelligence. So, like I said, these things are tools, right? I think somebody asked, yeah, back to the question of how good or how bad is AI. Somebody can as well ask how good or how bad are people. So God made people. He had a plan for people. But you see, people are vessels for spirits. So the person is neutral. The spirit by which they function is what determines the side the person would face, either good or bad. So in itself, the clay that forms my skin is neither good nor bad. The good person has a nose, so does the bad person. So whether people are good or bad is not a problem of people, it's a problem of spirits. Now, how to use AI intelligently is a function of people. Like I said, if you are wise, AI will so much amplify your wisdom, you wouldn't believe it. But if you are foolish, AI will bring out your folly to the world, and everybody will know that, oh, this guy is not wise. Have you ever been on social media, probably read a caption, and you are sure that this caption is AI generated? I am sure there will be not one person who doesn't have that experience. So what that means is that person simply just went there, copied and pasted, which is okay for that person at his level, but it tells me more about the person than the post, or about the person than the AI itself. For education purposes, you see, that's why there's a what do they call that thing? There's a hierarchy of learning. There's something they call it, but there's a structure with which people are expected to learn. Let me for it. Structure of learning. Forgotten what they call it. What I'm remembering now is hierarchy of needs. Recall. So they have recall, remember, and other learning models. So I remember you said you are in the education space. What do they call that thing? I'm struggling to find it. Just give me 1 minute. I'll remember. Levels of learning. Let's try that. Levels of learning. Hey, I think I've seen levels of learning pyramid. Very good. There's a name for it. There are 6 levels. Bloom's taxonomy. Very good. So there's a Bloom's taxonomy which informs how, as a teacher, you must make your students learn. So let me share that instead. I mean, if you just Google taxonomy, right? So every time we teach people, we want to take them from the basic, which is here, knowledge, to the most efficient, right, which is here, evaluation. So at least you want to get them to this point, application. So when you ask a child in an exam, right, list 5 things, what you are testing is knowledge. When you say differentiate between this and this, what you are testing is understanding. So I'm not a teacher, so my understanding of this is not very strong, but there is how you would teach people that even if you ask them to come to the exam hall with the computer and the internet and the AI, people will still sweat to submit. As part of my requirements to graduate from my master's degree last year, right, we had to do a campaign within a very short time. We had access to everything, lights, internet. You can talk, you can ask questions, you can even ask the examiner a question on the exam. He will answer you, right? But you see, at that point, if you don't know what to do, you don't know what to do. So what AI has done is it has put the burden it has put a burden on teachers, and it is forcing them to move the teaching up a higher level. So because you know now that if I give this guy an assignment, that all they need to do is ask and they will receive, right? You now have to rethink the assignment, at least to the point of application. So they must do something with it. Knowing the code to change the color of a text, for example, if you're a programmer, or knowing the code to do something is different from if I give you a list of things to do. Now, that one is different because you now have to do that one. AI cannot do some of those things yet. But I mean, the more AI improves, the higher we climb at the ladder. And you see, at some point, that's why PhD is important, right? And that's why PhD is celebrated, because PhD is evaluation. So you see somebody who studied biology. Biology is a broad subject, but he is celebrated more for his PhD in the skin, right? The skin is 1/100 million of biology as a field, but he's celebrated more for his expertise, because what he has done is he has gathered knowledge on biology, gathered knowledge on the skin, he has done some analysis and done some synthesis, and he has now provided an evaluation, something that he can say, I have tested this thing under rain, under sun, and this thing that I am presenting is now a law. So for you as a teacher to make students or to force students to go to push them from the point of using AI foolishly, you have to improve on your own teaching methods to make sure that you are able to force them to get to that point. All right. I think there are not any other questions, so I think we're good.